I'm Lucy.
And I'm Jennifer.
You're listening to Everything I Know About.
We share everything we know about a new topic, equipped with some internet research and a little too much exposure to pop culture.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, everyone.
This is our last episode before our 2-month hiatus. I'm pretty excited to have a break.
I was just about to say that.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know if that's like kosher to say.
We've been making episodes nonstop for like a year and a half. We did take a month off last summer and then a month off for Christmas, but that's it. And most podcasts, they record in seasons. You know, they're not every week or every other week like we do.
Most podcasts are making money, which we're not.
True.
Someone sponsor me. But no, we were just gabbing before we started recording. Lucy just came back from a trip.
I was in Chicago and Michigan, yeah. My husband ran a half marathon. He did really good. I was proud of him.
You had this Instagram story of Avery running, and I was cracking up because I thought he was gonna like give you a high five or like turn and face you or something. He just completely ignored you and ran past you, and I was like, oh,
literally didn't see me.
Oh, he didn't see you? Okay,
No,
so
he was like, I didn't even notice.
Oh, that's hilarious. I thought he was so in the zone. He was like, don't you fucking distract me. I'm running.
He was in the zone.
Oh,
you cannot have your noise canceling headphones on when people are screaming your name.
Good job, Avery, for finishing in what, about an hour and a half, hour and 30 minutes?
About a 7:10 pace, I think, 7:15.
Oh my God.
I know.
That's stupid.
I mean, he's now making running his whole personality, so it's not necessarily a great thing, but it is what it is at this point.
Okay, I'm sorry. If there's extra noise here, it's because of Banks. My cat has separation anxiety. He does not like to be alone.
So funny. He's like the star of the show. He's right in front of the camera.
Too bad we're not doing a witchy episode today.
Nope, we are doing a very basic episode, basic beauty episode.
Yeah, my black cat doesn't really fit.
Like the opposite of witchy. Yeah, so inspired off of the recent news that Hailey Bieber sold her beauty company, skin company, Rhode, to e.l.f. Beauty for, the headline is that it's $1 billion. And this has been all over my TikTok. She was trending in a very positive way. Like everybody was celebrating her accomplishment. It gave me nostalgia for the early 2000s girlboss era for sure, where everyone was like, damn, Hailey, now you're worth more than Justin. Like, I think he sold his whole music catalog for $200 million.
That's actually so wild that you can sell a skincare brand for more than an entire prolific music career.
Yeah. Well, I feel like the way that a lot of celebrities, musicians, actors make most of their money now is through their whatever they're selling on the side, D2C business, whether it's beauty or alcohol or something else. Like, I think Taylor Swift is the only artist that has been able to get to $1 billion solely on her music, and everyone else has some sort of merchandise deals too.
Well, Taylor Swift, as we will learn, did have a perfume.
Really?
So she even dabbled in this space. Yeah.
Interesting. I didn't know
She had
that.
a few perfumes. Wonderstruck.
Okay, like when she was younger.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like perfumes, I see them as kind of different than like a full-on from the ground up celeb brand, because perfumes in particular, like a lot of times the celebrity will just attach their name and they're really not involved beyond that. That's my assumption, but I'm curious to see if that's really true. So yeah, today we are talking about celebrity beauty brands. Jennifer looked into how a celebrity actually goes about creating a brand. Like, I'm curious if there's companies that exist that their list of clientele is literally all the celebrities in the world. And they're like trying to pitch to them, hey, build a company with us. And then I looked into how much money are these celebrities actually making? What is the structure of the company typically? And what are the backgrounds of the folks that they bring onto their team? Because that honestly seems like a super sweet gig to be attached to a celebrity and like run the business side of their operations. It feels like a guaranteed success because you have early benefits where they've just got such a huge audience. It feels like, we'll see, but it feels like you can't really fail. And then we also looked into some of the brands that have done super well. So Jennifer looked into Fenty and I looked into Rare Beauty. What are the potential differences between the companies that really take off versus the ones that struggle?
Yes. I always find the celebrity makeup brands so interesting because they seem to just blip for a second. They're like these bright stars that burn for like a few months and then they kind of go away, with obviously the exception of Fenty Beauty and Rare. I am wearing my Fenty Beauty lip gloss right now for the occasion.
Nice. What is your overall take on celebrity beauty companies, beauty brands? What is your general feeling on them compared to other beauty brands?
So, little known fact about me, I was a beauty skincare micro influencer for a hot second in like 2019, 2020. That was right around when like Kylie Skin was coming out. Fenty Beauty was getting super, super big at that time. And I have always kind of had a passion for like the beauty skincare space. And I personally would not buy something just because it's like a celebrity brand. I love doing like little deep dives into the actual ingredients and the performance and the science behind it. And more often than not, these celebrity brands tend to come up a little bit short. At least they used to. I know like now Rhode is supposed to be like more science backed, and the newer ones that have come out since probably 2023 are trying to be like super clean or not use plastic. They have kind of a science backed shtick, but at least in like 2000, 2019, like a little bit before like 2023, it felt like kind of a cash grab for the celebrity. So I went into it with a more skeptical eye, I would say. And today I use Rare Beauty, I use Fenty, and I think that's actually, no, I do use Haus Labs too.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. What about you?
I don't think I own any celebrity beauty products, but in general, I'm not very brand conscious when it comes to makeup. The one thing I fell for was the Glossier craze. So I do own a lot of Glossier beauty. But I don't know.
Yeah.
A lot of beauty products last me a really long time. Maybe you're supposed to throw them away, but I never do that. I don't know. People probably think that's gross, but I definitely have my eyeshadows from like college when I bought them from Glossier.
Oh, same. Yeah, we all have that one ratty naked palette that's just like holding on for dear life.
Yeah. Recently, I've been into Tower 28.
Yeah.
They're
a celebrity brand,
They're not a celebrity brand. It's an Asian-owned brand. So I like them. I mean, so I guess it does matter who the founder is. I try to support in all aspects of my life Asian-owned businesses. But yeah, I'm trying to think like Rare Beauty. I've seen obviously Fenty when it came out, had so much buzz, and I think the products are good. I don't think I have any biases that they're bad or anything because I feel like the reviews for the blush on Rare Beauty are like everywhere.
I'm actually wearing one right now too.
Wow, you're like a walking ad.
I didn't realize I did do the Fenty on purpose, but I just actually use the Rare Beauty blush every day.
Yeah, they seem like good products, so I would be down. I mean, if Rare Beauty or Fenty wanted to send us some products, we would be happy to chat about it.
I'm sure we're really high up on their PR list.
Yeah. Yeah, this podcast that like talks about sand. It's episode. Clearly a beauty podcast.
Yes, very much, very much. Yeah, I think we all had our Glossier moment. That's a rite of passage.
Yeah, I feel like Rhode is Glossier 2.0.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because when I was looking into why celeb brands work, first of all, just for some visualization here, in 2023, celebrity founded brands increased sales 57.5% year over year, surpassing $1 billion in total sales that year. In comparison, the beauty industry as a whole only grew 11%. I was like, well, why? And it's because you're selling your identity over selling a product. And I feel like that's why Glossier worked. It was like you're selling this cool girl, clean girl aesthetic of the moment identity rather than the actual products.
Yeah. And at the time, I think Glossier was quite controversial because it was like, only if you're already pretty can you use their product since it's so clean girl, so minimal. Like they don't even have a full coverage foundation.
Yeah.
That is Hailey Bieber's brand. That she's already pretty. She's a model. So
like the viral concealer moment that she had where she put like a little fleck. She's like, this is my makeup routine. A little fleck of concealer.
I think the success of Rhode is definitely that we're still very into clean beauty. But also, I actually think, you know, there's so much controversy around her. Fans love to speculate about the love triangle between her, Selena Gomez, and Justin Bieber. Have you ever gone down this rabbit hole?
Not by choice, but yeah.
Same. Not by choice, but I think everyone has because there's so much content put out about this supposed feud. I feel like the type of content I often see is more Hailey Bieber haters. I guess when I saw that she had her company acquired and there was all of this positivity, I was like, wow, it feels like she really overcame adversity because there are so many haters of Hailey Bieber.
You know, the thing about Hailey Bieber, which is interesting, even though she's traditionally the hated one, she's also the aspirational one. Even though Selena Gomez is gorgeous, uber successful, obviously very beloved, there's something about Hailey Bieber that feels more exclusive and more aspirational for some reason. Like I think Selena has, to her benefit, become somewhat a person of the people. Like she films all of her own content for Rare. Like it's very low production for the most part. And she like will show herself without makeup and she's very transparent about her situation with lupus, etc. Whereas Hailey kind of plays to the veneer of like, no, I'm above you. I'm a celebrity. And then her brand, even if you hate her, you're kind of like, oh, but I do want to look like her.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't want to like be her, but I do like your lip combo. I'll put it on my phone case.
Yeah, I think Selena's brand is like vulnerability and Hailey's is
Mhm.
That like cool girl model.
Aspirational.
Yeah,
Yeah.
aspirational. Now businesswoman, like 3 years to have sold your company for $600 million in cash, $200 million in stock, and then another 200 million coming if the brand grows. Super impressive. Truly incredible.
Insane.
Yeah, so I did a little bit of research into Rhode, the details of the sale, and it only has 10 products. They made $212 million in sales last year. So the sale price of $800 million represents a 4x revenue multiple, and their estimated EBITDA is 40%. So that's a 10x EBITDA multiple. I don't know if our listeners will care about this, but for me as like a business person, I was pretty impressed by that because most private companies sell at somewhere between 2 and 10x multiple. So this is at the top of the range. And
Wow.
I had thought that like really only software companies with recurring revenue streams could get high multiples. So I was surprised because I feel like people always say like D2C is dead. Like it's so hard to build a profitable beauty company nowadays.
Why we don't listen to conventional wisdom.
Yeah, very impressive. Very impressive. Her multiple is actually very similar to Rare Beauty, which makes $400 million a year and they're valued at over 2 billion. So, yeah, I feel like we always
Wow.
think about Fenty, Rare Beauty as the top of the game, but Rhode was very much in line in terms of how the market, at least, saw it in terms of its value. The CEO of e.l.f. Beauty did an interview where he talked about why he was so interested in acquiring Rhode. He referenced the fact that Rhode's fans are just so engaged. They're out waiting in line for her pop ups. And like you said, it's not just about buying the product, it's about buying into the entire lifestyle. And e.l.f. has more of a affordable product range. They appeal to millennials. And Rhode for them opens up this whole new consumer that is willing to spend a bit more. Their product is higher end and they're younger and just like way more social media savvy and engaged. So for e.l.f., it's definitely like a strategic move to get into a new type of market.
It was funny. A few days before they announced the purchase, they'd released this big thing on social media that they were increasing their prices by $1 on all their products. And
Mm-hmm.
all of the comments at the time were like, oh, we totally understand. Thank you so much for trying to be affordable still. And then a few days later, the announcement came out that they bought it for $1 billion. And then price hike announcement went viral again. And then this time you could see the comments from like 6 days ago and then the comments from the day that the announcement came out. And they were like, oh, we see right through this now. Like, are you kidding me? You're hiking the prices to pay for Rhode.
Yeah, I saw some of those reaction videos from people being like, I'm never buying from e.l.f. again because of this price scandal. So
Yeah.
people
So
are
crazy.
fickle. People are fickle. Yeah, it's a tough market.
But it's also interesting that she sold so early.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I wonder what the calculus was there for her.
I feel like she just, this is total speculation, but I'm like, maybe she just doesn't actually want to run it anymore. Like, she kind of proved her point.
Yeah, I was thinking the same, but also maybe she's just like a genius with timing and she knows like $1 billion is a lot. What really am I going after?
Mhm.
2 billion, 3 billion?
Yeah.
Something could happen tomorrow with the P. Diddy case that makes this like no one wants to be around me
Oh my
anymore.
gosh.
Like,
Yeah.
you never
Yeah.
know.
Maybe she's aware, like, there's going to be some scandal that's going to drop, that's going to hurt her image.
Ooh, ooh.
That would be something. Wow.
Is there like an equivalent to insider trading that's more about social status?
That would be hilarious.
You know,
Yeah.
some teas about to drop. Timing the market around social stigma.
There's got to be something in that sale contract that's like a little disclaimer. And if she totally tanks her reputation, there's some clawback.
Yeah.
Insane.
Oh my gosh.
I'm curious how celebrities actually build a beauty company nowadays. And I know, Jennifer, you did research into this. What's the process like?
I did. Whew. Well, it's been an interesting evolution that I didn't know was occurring behind the scenes for the past few decades. So we're going to have to kick it all the way back to 1920
Oh,
when the celebrity first entered the beauty space.
love it.
Do you think you could give a guess on what triggered, what sparked, what was like the first celebrity, not who, but like what was going on with celebrities in beauty?
1920s, I guess. I'm imagining the movies. I feel like
Yeah.
celebrities back in the day didn't have a lot of control over their careers. I don't even think they made that much money. Like they were just attached to
Mhm.
these studios. And I imagine the invention of celebrity was partially like, well, what are you wearing? What's on your face? And so maybe that was a way for them to actually monetize their celebrity in a new way.
You are pretty much on the money. Yeah. So in the 1920s, Maybelline started using silent film stars for their makeup ads. They started getting a little more savvy with it come the 70s and 80s and realized that celebrities could license out their names on products and make a lot of money that way. And it was a very mutually beneficial contract there. So the first few people to do this were Sophia Loren. Do you know who Sophia Loren is?
Yeah. I mean, vaguely, I've heard her name. She's like a famous movie star from the old days.
I know, I feel like I should know her name because like all the articles that I read about this were like, Sophia Loren was incredible. She was huge. I was like, I feel like I know her name, but I couldn't tell you what she was in, what she did.
Oh, yeah. No, I couldn't
It's
either.
probably kind of sad.
I'm like the furthest thing from a movie buff.
Oh,
So.
I'm not either. Yeah. Well, Sophia Loren and Elizabeth Taylor were the first ones to really license out their name and make their own beauty brands. This was in 1981 and 1987, respectively. Elizabeth Taylor's perfumes, I still see them in stores and stuff. They're like cult classics. And then in the early to mid 2000s, we get sort of this proliferation of the licensing out of the celebrity name. So you might be familiar with Glow by J.Lo. Is this ringing a bell?
I don't think so. Is this body butter or something?
No, perfumes. This is mostly
Oh,
perfumes.
Okay, well, because you're a perfume
Yeah.
girl and I'm not. So I'm sure you're like, this is obvious.
Yeah, I don't know. I am a perfume girl. I remember being in like middle school and going to Macy's and just seeing like the lines of J.Lo perfumes. They always had the really colorful, cute bottles. They smelled very good. Loved them. So J.Lo really took center stage in like 2002 and launched the celebrity perfume space. Then we get the iconic Britney Spears perfumes. Like who didn't own Curious or Fantasy at one point in their lives? And then we get the Taylor Swift perfumes. After that, celebs start going into the skincare space mostly. We get Josie Moran, which I did not realize she was a
Oh.
celebrity. I thought it was just a brand.
Same.
No, but she launched in 2008. Miranda Kerr's brand launched in 2012, which is interesting because I've actually used her skincare line Cora before. It's Cora Organics. It's really good stuff, pretty expensive. But I didn't realize she launched in 2012. I thought it was a more recent beauty brand, but she's been working on it for well over a decade. And Jessica Alba launched the Honest Company, which I feel like we see that in Target and stuff. I was shocked that that's
Yeah.
her brand.
Oh, you didn't know? Yeah, Jessica's the only one I'm familiar with because she has like a full-on female founder story. Like she went the VC route and Lightspeed backed her. And she has this story about how she pitched so many VCs, which, you know, mostly male VCs. All of them turned her down, even with her celebrity brand. Lightspeed saw the vision and then, yeah, she like turned it into a public company.
Unbelievable. I had no idea. So these are, you know, our first celebrity brands that we see. And again, most of them are licensed out, but it's actually really hard to track down which businesses were somewhat founded by the celebrity versus which ones they simply just gave their name to. So when you ask the question, like, how much involvement does the celebrity have with the brand? It is extremely difficult to tell because for the most part, these companies are privately owned, so they don't have to disclose ownership. So unless the celebrity is coming out and saying, I own 50%, really, really difficult to track down. However, the way in which these companies are pitched and they find brand celebrity match, I think is really interesting and kind of tells a story here. Anyone, if you have enough money, you can contact a manufacturer and get them to make you products. It's not hard. You or I could do it. So celebrities, they actually work with these things called beauty incubators. And the beauty incubators have an idea for a brand that they want to launch, and they'll try to match themselves with a celebrity to go about the marketing side. So they take care of the ideation, the brand crafting, the actual production. And then their hope is that they can put more dollars into the actual product and the packaging because they can take that away from marketing spend. That'll all just go to celebrity pitching to their audiences. The celeb does get a little bit of creative input, but for the most part, they're just the face of the brand. There's a huge beauty incubator called Mesa. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. It's Maesa, Mesa. They're the leader in the beauty incubator space. And they say they get calls weekly from huge celebrities who their management companies are trying to get them the Kylie Jenner deal.
Oh, gosh.
So
Of course.
everyone wants to be the face of the next big beauty brand. However, since they're in such high demand, it's actually the incubators that are going out and pitching the celebrities. They like don't take inbound calls. So Scott Oshry, who is Mesa's CMO, this is one of his quotes. He says, "We try to identify individuals who are entrepreneurial in their disposition and who have a passion for a category we're in. Then, instead of putting money into marketing, we can put it all into packaging and formula and allow our partners to be the voice." So there you go. That's the symbiotic relationship there. If you're not going the incubator route where everything is just kind of set up for you, the other way you do this is by building the brand from scratch, which sounds a lot more intimidating than it actually is because the celebrity isn't literally going out and formulating these products. They are basically just responsible for getting a team together who does what the incubator would basically do. The difference here for the celebrity is they maintain majority or at least ownership stakes in the company. They have a lot more decision-making power and veto power, but for the most part, they are still not involved in the day-to-day. So a great example of this is Rare Beauty. Selena Gomez built that team from scratch. She hired execs from NYX and Hourglass, and she owns probably a lot of the company. It's not disclosed how much she owns now, but at least at the beginning, at the inception of Rare Beauty, before they raised and all of that, she did own the majority of Rare Beauty. Fenty, which we'll talk about more in depth later, was kind of a hybrid model between an incubator and ownership. So LVMH has a beauty incubator arm called Kendo. Kendo does Marc Jacobs Beauty, Kat Von D, Ole Henriksen, and they had an idea for doing a celebrity brand and partnered with Rihanna on it. And she agreed to do it if she got ownership stake. So she owned 50% outright and had creative power over the brand, but she was partnering with LVMH for like the licensing and production and stuff. So
Got it. Okay.
lots of different models here.
And then LVMH owns Sephora. So that's how they
Yeah.
got into Sephora. Makes sense.
LVMH owns everything.
Yeah. Good partner. Go Rihanna. I guess she was like, yeah, huge celebrity. So I'm sure she was high in demand. She had the right to demand her own terms.
But yeah, that's how a celeb gets their brand. Was any of this surprising to you, or did you kind of have an inkling that this is how it all went down?
I had a feeling there were companies pitching celebrities. Like I didn't know there was this thing called the beauty incubator. But yeah, I mean, someone is definitely recognizing that opportunity. I looked into the do-it-yourself from scratch model. Rhode is obviously a case where she did it herself. It's estimated that she owns 50 to 70% of her company. So a lot of that money did go to her. And I think her case is interesting because, I mean, you mentioned Rare Beauty, right? If I was a celebrity, I would definitely like try to hire people who came from this space and had like 20 years of experience in the beauty industry. And I was curious, is that the model? Like if you're like a celebrity and you're like, I'm going to do this myself, is the first thing you do like go find the CEO of a beauty company and like poach him? Or like what is the route that people take? Hailey actually took a pretty interesting route because her co-founders are not from the beauty space at all. So the two co-founders for Rhode Beauty are Michael and Lauren Ratner. Michael Ratner is the founder of a media company, and she met him because he directed Justin Bieber's documentary in 2021. So he's a media guy, but I think that does explain what you were saying in the intro about how Rhode's positioning is different. Because, you know, she has a YouTube channel.
Vaguely. This is ringing a bell.
She has this YouTube series called like Who's in My Bathroom or something. And it's, yeah, I mean, her YouTube channel got to 1 million subscribers super quickly, but it's just like a celebrity interview show. They play games and she asks questions to celebrities, but it's set in a bathroom. I don't think it's actually her bathroom. I think it's like a set, but there's like a bathtub and a sink and like all the bathroom stuff.
There was definitely a girl that was doing this before her. She definitely stole that idea.
Oh, also in the bathroom?
Yes. Yeah. It was like a young journalist who ended up working for like The Cut or I don't know, so like Allure or some beauty magazine. But she started off by like talking to beauty editors and being like, what's in your medicine cabinet in New York?
Oh, this is Glossier. Emily Weiss did that.
Oh my God, that's what it was. Yes.
Into the gloss. Yeah.
Oh my God, I knew there was something.
No, I think this show is like, it just takes place in a bathroom, but she's not asking the guests about what's in their beauty regimen. Like it's just a normal.
She's just like, let's go in the
it's
bathroom
just set
and
in a
talk?
bathroom. Yes.
Wait, that's so much weirder.
Well, I think that's the gimmick. It's like, oh, like it's funny because I'm here with a celebrity and we're in my bathroom. I'm asking them about their newest project or whatever.
What the fuck? Okay, sure. Okay, sure, Hailey.
So Michael is the brainchild behind that, her YouTube channel. And like all of it is filmed professionally. So I think that's interesting because like even the origins are reflected in how the company does its marketing, right? Like you said in the beginning, like Selena, she films herself, whereas Hailey has a full-on team. That's like in the very DNA of the company. And it wasn't until 2024 when they brought in a new CEO. He was the former CEO of The Honest Company, where you see like clear beauty industry ties there, CEO skill set ties. But prior to that, the founding team, it's kind of untraditional. I mean, Lauren Ratner, who is the other member of the co-founding team, has marketing experience from Reformation and Michael Kors. So that's very typical. Like you'll see the celebrity founder, someone who's really good at marketing. And then typically you see someone who's like good at product or like good at the business side of things. So I thought it was interesting that she went with Michael as her first person that she hired or like decided to do this with, who is actually just a media guy.
Everything's marketing.
Yeah.
Content first.
Quite smart if you think about it. That like aspirational everything, you know, it starts with the image, right? So yeah. So I didn't even realize that like Who's in My Bathroom show was meant to market Rhode. But if you think about yourself as I'm the product, you don't want to be too inaccessible because then people can't relate to you. So that was a way for her to come off like, I'm a human, don't hate me, like me, but also my skin is great. You know?
Don't hate me, but my skin is great. Wait, should that be the title of this episode?
I feel like that's her whole essence, right? Because she has so many haters. Don't hate me, but I'm beautiful.
Don't hate me because I'm beautiful. Hers is like, you can hate me, but you still want to be me.
Oh, damn. Just giving her a lot of credit. Yeah. It's a very cool girl thing to say. The other company I looked into was Skims, which I've always personally been super interested in because this is not a beauty company, but I feel like if I were to think about overall hugely successful celebrity brands, Skims definitely comes to mind. And like what made Skims so successful? Because Kim K has launched so many other brands. I mean, she has her own makeup line, skincare line. She had her own debit card and Android games. Like she's done the gamut throughout her celebrity.
The Android games is so funny. It's so funny.
Yeah. So I was like, what is the secret? Like, why Skims? You know, why is that one taken off? And so the first thing I looked into was like, who's the team behind Skims? So Kim has also two co-founders. It's also a married couple, Emma and Johns Greedy, a British and Swedish couple. Emma is this badass businesswoman who like has been on Shark Tank. She got involved with the Kardashian Jenners back in 2016 because she helped Khloe launch Good American.
I love Good American.
Okay, yeah. But like far less
I own a lot
successful
of
from a revenue perspective than Skims.
Is it?
Yeah, yeah.
Really? That's very surprising because they're in so many stores. So I thought they were bigger.
Yeah, so this woman, Emma Greedy, also helped Kris Jenner launch a line of cleaning products, and she did Kylie Jenner's fashion line, Kai. Like, none of these were, like, knockout hits, really, until Skims.
Wait, Kylie Jenner had a fashion line?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I had no idea.
Kai. Wow. K-H-Y. Pleather coats and pleather dresses. I don't know. That doesn't sound like my type of product.
Oh, I would have ate that up. I love pleather.
Well, you can probably find it on discount now because I don't think they're doing so well.
Nice.
So Emma is the CPO of Skims, and then her husband, Johns, is the CEO. And his background is in marketing and celebrity partnerships. And then she does all the product stuff. And there was an article in The Cut that interviewed them, and they were like, so what does it take to make a celebrity brand work? And their quote was, there's a special alchemy required for a celebrity brand to work. You can be a great singer, actor, or actress, but you've got to have an aesthetic that's different from someone else's. It's got to be desirable. Not many people have this. I mean, maybe 7. This is the quote from Johns.
Ooh,
I know.
John. Well, he's not wrong. There have been like maybe 7 who have been able to pull it off really well.
And then it's funny because I think probably the Cut interviewer pushed back being like, well, how come all these other brands you've been involved in with the family haven't done as well? And they were like, yeah, it's somewhat random. They admitted that their success was somewhat random.
Yep.
It's not like out the gate they knew Skims was going to be the brand, you know? Kim tells a very compelling story in that, like, well, she was always into shapewear. But I think that's more hindsight, the fact that it worked so well.
What made Skims stand out? Like, is there any tangible, or is it truly just kind of throw shit at the wall and see what sticks?
What made Skims stand out was that the shapewear was cut into unusual shapes. So like they'd have shaping shorts, like the typical shape, but like one leg would be missing so that you could wear like a high slit dress.
So it was truly product innovation that made it stand out from like these other Kardashian brands, I mean.
I think so. I mean, that's why to me, I'm like, obviously Skims was always going to be the one that worked. I mean, I know Good American does more inclusive sizing, so I think that's their angle. Like they're making jeans, which everybody makes jeans, but then they have more inclusive sizing, which I think worked with Khloe's brand because she was always seen as the quote unquote fat sister.
I think they're actually a really innovative brand because their sizing is supposed to grow with you if you like gain or lose 15 pounds. So I like fluctuate a lot in weight. I'll like go up or down a full size within a year. I almost exclusively buy Good American jeans because they'll fit me all throughout the year.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Okay, so their like material is like stretchy.
Yeah. And their cut is somehow innovative, so it doesn't look shitty if it's too tight or too loose. I don't know. They work pretty well.
Got it. Okay. I thought it was just more inclusive sizing on either end of the spectrum, like smaller and larger sizes.
Yeah. Maybe that counts as
they
inclusive,
probably do that too. Yeah. But in terms of the role that Kim actually plays in her brand, she is the creative director. She really is a source for a lot of the ideas and the quote, pure creative vision But it's really like these two behind the scenes executing everything. I think also Kim gets a lot of credit for the marketing campaigns, but that sounds like it's mostly John who like is responsible for all the celebrity partnerships. You know how when Skims does a launch, the next day there's like Sabrina Carpenter and Skims. That's all
Yeah.
John's.
What's so interesting about Skims Rise to me is you have to have a really hot bod to begin with to look good in Skims.
Do you own
It's
anything from
not
Skims?
on purpose, no. I feel
Yeah,
like
I
it would
don't.
shatter my confidence if I bought anything from Skims. Everything is so bodycon and like very flimsy fabric.
Yeah, I don't own anything from Skims, but I think it's not flimsy. Like I think it's that Spanx material where it sucks you in is the point. So it like looks really bodycon, but it's like a corset basically is my understanding.
I might just be like specifically referencing that viral Skims dress that was like
The jersey
a
thing.
piece of spandex.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny that the Kardashians had so many brands. I mean,
Mhm.
they had more brands than I even knew before this
Yeah.
episode. Like, there's so many that just never made it out of the gate. And I mean, you think the celebrity brand is going to be automatically a success story because they have the audience built in, but that is 100 million% not the case. Allure had a list of all of these failed celebrity brands. And I was like, I've never heard of 90% of these brands. There's so many. And one of the reasons that celeb brands tend to fail pretty often is because they're faced with more scrutiny than a normal brand would be. You kind of expect more from a celebrity brand. And like, there's a little bit of an investment in sussing it out, seeing if this is actually a cash grab, if it's quality. There are two interesting stories I want to point out about these celeb brands that failed due to scrutiny. One of them actually is a Kardashian brand. So did you ever hear of Kylie Skin?
Yeah.
Back in like, I think it was like 2020, she
Mhm.
launched Kylie Skin. I think it was during the pandemic. It was when I had my Skinfluencer account and she got blasted. And this company did eventually go under, but she got blasted because it was the most basic skincare line ever. A normal face wash, a scrub, and like a moisturizer. But it was all in light pink, cutely packaged. And they're like, where's the innovation here? Like these ingredients suck. People were like tearing down the ingredients list online. The big controversy came because she had walnut shells in the scrub. And then this started this cultural conversation around St. Ives apricot scrub.
Oh yeah.
Were you
Yeah.
part of this discourse? Do you remember this?
I've used the scrub. St. Ives, not Kylie Skin.
Okay, so Kylie Skin had these crushed up walnut shells in the scrub. She was like, this is really gentle. You could use it every day. And then like the skincare fanatics were all like, this will cause micro tears in your skin. This is really bad for it. You cannot use this every day. Like it's a physical exfoliant that is actually terrible for you. She's selling this for like $20. You might as well just go buy St. Ives apricot scrub. So then St. Ives became this, I don't know, like cultural marker for like a shitty old millennial brand that we all used in middle school. It became like the shorthand for that. It's like, oh, this is like the apricot scrub. You'll see people throw that around in the beauty space even today in like memes and stuff. But it started with this conversation around Kylie Skin. So yeah, I cannot think of another type of brand that would face that much scrutiny on a launch than obviously like a Kylie Skin brand would. So that did not work out for her. Another one was Addison Rae's beauty. So Addison Rae had an entire beauty brand that she launched in 2020, also at the height of her celebrity back in early pandemic days. And she launched alongside Hiram, who was also a big skinfluencer. He had like millions and millions of followers on TikTok and YouTube. He built Hiram's Selfless brand, Selfless Skincare, and they were both in Sephora and then subsequently got pulled. Also,
Oh.
a little bit due to ingredient controversy. I believe one of them said that their ingredients were vegan when they really weren't, but it was just clear that they were not as involved in the making of the brand as they presented themselves to be. Addison ended up not even promoting her brand for like an entire year, and then Sephora just pulled it from the shelves. So it doesn't work out for everybody.
Yeah, that's interesting. You would think that a celebrity would have a lot of reason to be invested and like actually be involved because it's their name on the line. But now you're like listing all these brands and I'm like, I've never heard of them. But I also don't think it affected the celebrity negatively. Maybe for a short amount of time, but like it doesn't really stick to them. So I guess if they don't actually care, there's like no skin off their back, you know?
Yeah, Addison Rae definitely not. I don't think it
Yeah.
affected her at all. Now she's a singer, so she doesn't care.
Yeah.
Hiram, I think, did fall off the face of the planet.
Was he a celebrity though, or was he just a skincare YouTube person?
He was just a skincare YouTube
Okay, because
person.
that makes sense because that's the only thing you're known for. So then if your product is
Yeah.
really bad, it's like, why were we listening to you in the first place?
Yeah.
That's like another world, the influencer brand. That's like one rung below the celebrity brand.
That's true. Well, then again, like, what would Kylie be then? Is she an influencer or is she a celebrity? Like, she sits somewhere in between. Same with Hailey Bieber.
Well, I think at this point,
I don't know. I don't know, actually. No, because she's a Baldwin. I
yeah,
keep forgetting that. Yeah, she's a celebrity.
I think Hailey is a celebrity initially due to her marriage. Now she's kind of made a name for
Yeah,
herself. And I think the Kardashians definitely started out as influencers, but at this point, with their show, I mean, I would consider them celebrities at this point.
true. Okay, so Addison Rae and Hiram's brands, I would consider those
Yeah.
influencer brands over like celebrity brands. That's true.
Yeah. If you're the business person and you're like, I would love to work with a celebrity brand, you really have to go for actually a huge celebrity. These
Mhm.
influencer ones, like, I do not think that's a slam dunk by any means. I feel like more fail than actually are successful. But then everybody thinks that they can be the next Fenty Beauty, the next Rare Beauty.
Yeah.
And I know you looked into Fenty specifically.
Mhm.
Obviously, Rihanna was just a huge star, but they also had a unique take. Their shade range for foundation was so inclusive, and it was truly something that like didn't exist. So I feel like that's really the magic formula is like you've got the really huge celebrity, but you also actually have a good product that's doing something unique.
Yeah, totally. When I was trying to pin down if somebody had figured out what the magic formula is, it seems like it is exactly what you said, a mix of having an actually innovative, interesting product, but then also the celebrity attached to it is genuinely a voice, a supporter, like an advocator for whatever the shtick is for the products, and then has this intangible quality of authenticity is what they really look for. So I think Rihanna definitely has that. Her whole thing with Fenty Beauty was women everywhere need to feel included. She had personal experience with not being able to find foundation and makeup that matched her skin. And everyone in her community had this exact same problem. So she was the perfect face and advocate for having more inclusive shade ranges. So she launched Fenty in 2017. And it was a huge legendary move that she launched the foundation with 40 shades. Like this was absolutely unheard of. Every single woman can find a shade in this foundation. And they now have 50 shades. 50 shades, I just realized. So they ran it alongside this marketing campaign that was extremely diverse. And they made $100 million in their first month after launch
In 1 month?
in 1 month.
Oh my God.
And guess what? All of the darkest shades sold out first. So it was a signal to the rest of the beauty community that like the white Eurocentric beauty standard was not cutting it anymore. All of these other brands started blowing up their shade ranges. Like it used to be okay to have like 6 shades,
Yeah.
and now you will get roasted if you don't have at least 40. She literally set the new standard. Every single foundation that comes out, if it's less than 40, they get roasted. And if it's in the 50 to 60 range, that's applauded. That's insane. They literally call it the Fenty effect in the
Yeah.
beauty industry, which is incredible. And I think this was such a funny little anecdote. So apparently, a lot of these brands, in response to the Fenty effect, they would just add more pigment to their original formulas. And it doesn't actually work on darker skin. Like you need to reformulate and kind of figure out the undertones. So when they asked Rihanna what she thinks about people expanding their shade ranges, she just looked in the camera and she goes, I don't know, still ashy. Because they just added more pigment, but it actually looked like shit on darker skin tones. So she's like, they can do what they want. I'm still the best.
Yeah, no, it makes sense that there'd be like a bunch of copycat followers once it became the standard. Good for her for like changing the
Mhm.
standard. Insane.
Yeah, she literally did. But exactly to this point, like it was a perfect intersection of the right person with the right idea, executing it well.
Mm-hmm. It does feel like very authentic because she's promoting her beauty brand more than her music nowadays. At
Yeah.
the Super Bowl when she was powdering her face.
Oh my God. Yeah, she hasn't come out with an album since 2016.
Mm-hmm.
So she literally is just like a beauty entrepreneur now. Like of her $1.4 billion in personal wealth, the majority of it comes from Fenty Beauty because she owns a 50% stake and it's valued at 2.8 billion as of like 2023. Like I don't even know what the updated numbers are. The latest that we have is 2.8 billion in 2023.
Yeah, it's really interesting to think about like, okay, if she hadn't been attached to that, but like it was the same concept, it was still a need in the market to have these shades that weren't represented, where would the brand be?
Mm-hmm.
Because like, I don't know, I think it would still probably be a really big brand. Obviously, Rihanna like helped it get there much faster, but I do think this is just an example of actually it was like a needed product. There was a market demand for this. It was just being ignored. And so any company that stepped in, even if it didn't have a celebrity name attached to it, I imagine it would have still done well.
Yeah. You looked into rare beauty, right?
Yeah, so I think Rare is kind of, it's different than Fenty in that I don't think from a product perspective there's any crazy innovation where you'd be able to point to it and be like, well, this never even existed before. I feel like Rare Beauty, their breakout product was their blush, which obviously a lot of people make blush. And maybe theirs was really, really good, but who knows? Like, you know,
It is really good.
hard to
I will say.
differentiate. Yeah.
I will say it's good.
Rare Beauty has been really interesting because, like, yes, it's a runaway success. Rare Beauty has made Selena Gomez a billionaire. The company is now valued at over $2 billion. And you kind of already talked about a little bit of the team, right? So that she did bring together a group of industry execs. I think what has made Rare Beauty so successful is she still has that magic formula in a slightly different way that we talked about with Fenty. Like, I think from a product perspective, the products are actually good. Yes, they're not like crazy innovative, but like when she came out with her first product, and she rolls them out one product at a time, which I think is also very smart. So like she came out with her blush. People genuinely loved it. Like the influencers giving the reviews were like, this is actually insane value as well, because I think like what, one drop of Rare Beauty blush, that's always what I see in the videos. It like covers your whole face or whatever. So you never need
I've
to
had
repurchase.
my Rare Beauty blushes for years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was like unique and definitely spoke for itself from the product. And then I think around the actual like celebrity and brand piece, her team was really, really intentional about what kind of look Rare Beauty should have. They literally like sat down and brainstormed and were like, what is it about Selena that people love so much? Because so many people love her. She was at one point the most followed person on Instagram. She's got that star power for sure. And they were like, oh, we think it's vulnerability. She's just so open and honest about who she is, everything she's gone through, the struggles, the challenges, the lupus, the heartbreak, like so much she's been through. And there's this sense that everyone can see themselves in her. So they really, really leveraged that from the packaging to everything, right? And I think one thing that I've been aware about Rare Beauty's brand is that they have this charitable arm called the Rare Beauty Fund. Are you aware of this?
Yeah.
That's front and center in a lot of her messaging because it's a fund for mental health, which is something that she struggled with personally. And they donate 1% of all their proceeds to this fund. And as I was doing research, I thought it was interesting because actually Rhode also has a fund and they also donate 1% of sales to this fund called Rhode Futures Foundation. And that focuses on supporting women and addressing barriers that they face in their careers, healthcare access. And so I think that's interesting because I had never even heard about that. I feel like for Rare Beauty, it just makes sense that this charitable arm is a huge part of the brand. Whereas even though Rhode is literally doing a very, very similar thing, literally 1% as well, it doesn't seem to matter, or like their brand positioning is so different. Like you would never even know that unless you really dug in. So
That's definitely on purpose.
that this she did it. I'm sure she was like, this is working for them. Why not do it for me too?
No, I think it's on purpose that she did it and then did not talk about it.
Oh, I see. Oh, you think it was like her making a statement?
Yeah, I think it's one of those things that it's like she's slightly unlikable. And so she has this, but then it would make her even more unlikable if she did it and talked about it. It's kind of that like quiet charity that's much more attractive than like loud charity.
Interesting.
I think it was a strategic move.
Yeah. I do think the loud charity works for Gomez, though.
Yeah, because she's likable though. She's likable.
Exactly. So that's what I mean by like their brand positionings are just totally different. Even when they like do the exact same thing, I think the way that we perceive it, it's totally dependent on like who actually the celebrity is, which is so fascinating. So like even when you start to think about the playbook, right, or like the magic formula for success, you really have to adapt it. There are some things that are like clear playbook, have a good product, have a non-controversial celebrity, launch in Sephora. Outside of that, you really actually, the packaging, the images, all of that needs to be custom. Even the packaging for Rare Beauty, because of Selena's lupus, she struggles to apply makeup. And so the packaging is specifically designed with that in mind. And a lot of people have praised that it's so inclusive when it comes to even just like applying, like the containers being easy to open and things like that.
I have this very visceral memory of seeing there's a makeup influencer who, I'm going to forget the term for it, a 4-time amputee, like you literally have no limbs. He does his makeup every day and films it. And it's just incredible watching how he does it. But he loves using Rare Beauty because the little ball on the top of the blush, he can like hold it between his shoulder and his chin and like open it really easy. I'm like, that's actually so beautiful. And I've seen people who have rheumatoid arthritis or like any other disability talk about how much it means to them to have this kind of packaging. It's something that you or I don't think of. Like I look at that and I'm like, oh, that's a cute little ball on top. But for them, it's an accessibility thing. She did it in a cute, subtle way too. It doesn't scream this is an accessibility product. So I think it was just so clever and so sweet.
Yeah, and it made sense. Again, it's so authentic because like she literally struggles with that herself when her lupus symptoms are acting up.
Yeah. The other thing, the color names are all having to do with mental health stuff too.
Yeah.
It's like joy, gratitude, courage.
Oh, you're so bought in.
No, I don't like that aspect of it, actually. I think it's so silly. Whenever I'm deciding between Rare Beauty blush colors, I'm like, do I want gratitude or bliss? I don't know. Sometimes I like to choose a color off of its name. Like when I go get my nails done,
Hmm.
I am a little bit superstitious. Like I think the name is going to like set the tone for whatever is
Hmm.
going on in my life during the manicure. And with Rare Beauty, I just can't do it. Like these are all so cheesy.
Yeah, I think Rare Beauty, they just had a super clear brand identity from day one. Like, I think Selena was very involved. She had her clear vision and it paid off and they're hugely successful. Another interesting example where they didn't get it quite right at first, but now it's successful is Haus Labs, which is Lady Gaga's brand. I think now it's perceived as one of the best celeb beauty brands. I think it does really well. You said you have products from there, right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very well regarded in the beauty space for sure.
That was when they launched in Sephora in 2022, but they actually had an initial launch back in 2019 and they launched on Amazon, exclusive to Amazon.
What?
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people don't know about this. Yeah.
I don't know about this at all.
It's interesting that now so many people either never knew about it or like have forgiven the brand and like are willing to give it a second chance.
Hmm.
But Lady Gaga's brand, the investor was Lightspeed, which was the same investor as the Honest Company. So they approached her and they were like, we want to do this with you. And they installed a CEO who was the former digital officer of the Honest Company as the CEO of Haus Labs. The Amazon decision was because everyone launches in Sephora and they wanted to test out, can you actually launch a high-end makeup line on Amazon? And Lady Gaga was happy with the Amazon partnership because they were willing to give her free reign to build her brand around self-acceptance and confidence, which is the message that she wanted her brand to have. However, she was not actually very involved in the products themselves. And the CEO of Haus Labs came from this D2C background that wasn't specific to beauty. Like Honest Company has so many products, they do cleaning products as well. And a lot of the former employees had a lot of tea to spill. And they were saying that like it was just a huge rush to launch to make money. And there was no beauty expertise. And the products were just really bad and lackluster. Like people were expecting these crazy colors because it's Lady Gaga. And instead it was just normal, boring makeup, literally no innovation. And it flopped pretty much immediately. And so from August 2020 to February 2022, 37 of the 50 employees left. And I'm shocked they got a second chance because Jones is still the CEO and he raised a Series B from Lightspeed. And then that's what funded their relaunch in summer of 2022.
And Jones is the Honest Company guy?
Yeah.
All right. I mean, at least he turned it around. I was going to say, like, I could kind of see the writing on the wall with the, like, Honest Company, accessible pricing in the Targets of the world. And then he's like, we're going to launch on Amazon with shitty products. I'm like, I'm seeing a trend here, friend.
Yeah. It's interesting. I don't know if Lady Gaga was more involved the second time around or if they just learned their lesson that, like, well, this is what her fans are expecting. We should probably add some color.
Yeah, she plays it off like she's very involved. On her social media, when she promotes the foundation or whatever, she'd be like, I am super proud of this formula. That's so funny knowing the context now. Because she always talks about how proud she is of the formula and the innovation. And she's like, we redid this 6 times and I sent it back because it wasn't quite right. That's totally why I had no idea the context.
I mean, maybe she was more involved the second time.
Even if she isn't super involved, she's at least doing the marketing bit. Like, we actually care about our formulas.
Right.
That's so funny. I'm never looking at a Haus Labs ad the same way ever again. Because their whole thing is they use a special type of silicone in their foundation.
Oh.
A proprietary silicone blend.
I didn't know that. Huh.
Mm-hmm.
So knowing all this, do you think it's more or less impressive now when you see these huge success stories of these celebrities like Hailey selling her company for $1 billion?
I don't think I've changed my mind on it, to be honest. I think the thing that struck me the most was how many failed ones there are that I haven't heard of before. So that does make the success stories a little bit more impressive. But for the most part, I kind of felt like the celebrities like don't really get super involved with these brands. Like there's just no way. I am much more impressed by Rihanna's Fenty beauty line now that I've looked into it. Like I knew that she was involved. I didn't know the level to which she was involved. So I think that's like very, very impressive. Selena Gomez, I feel like everyone knows that she's very involved in rare beauty. So that didn't come as a surprise, but I do think that's interesting. Hailey Bieber, though, I don't know. I feel like she's riding off of her image, and I feel bad for saying that because I've never tried her products, but they just seem so basic. It's like what she's like a toner and a lip gloss.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And apparently, like the lip gloss is like kind of shitty. I don't know. I mean, you got to give her props for having the business acumen to do that. But then again, how much is that her versus just plopping your face onto something? Who knows?
Yeah, I do feel like now that there's so many examples of this, I think she benefited from a lot of that experience. Like she chose to do it this way, doing it herself, building her own team instead of going the route of the beauty incubator. I think intentionally, like she talks about that a lot in her interviews. That is interesting to me. Like I do think if I was a celebrity, I would 100% go this route because I don't actually think it's like that much more work. I do think it's all about who you hire and like if you hire good people. But you get to keep so much more of the company and you get so much more decision-making power. To me, I'm like, you should 100% go this route, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely a lot more work up front. I can't even imagine the
Yeah,
interview processes and like
that's true. I guess you have to be
all of that.
like to me, I'm like, that stuff is so fun. I love hiring people. It's so exciting and fun. But I guess you probably as a celebrity are like, that's not my main concern.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's probably very easy to sway people, though. Like you can probably get whoever you want.
Right. Well, Hailey, like, it was her own money that she put in to Rhode. So I also think that's impressive. Like, she has this quote that us doing Pagebound, I was like, so real. She was like, you just have to like invest in yourself and trust yourself and like go with your gut. And I was like, yes, preach, girl.
Yeah. Well, she did do good. What about you? How are you feeling about the celeb brands now?
I mean, I was just always very interested to understand how they worked better. And so I do feel like I know so much more about that now. I think it is such an unfair advantage though. Like I think there's so many people out there who like have dreams to like create their own brand of some sort and D2C is just so hard unless you have an audience. So it just feels like, again, if I was a celebrity, I would 100% do it. It's like the surest way to make my net worth $1 billion and I could 100% do it. I do have confidence. I could build the next Fenty or Rare Beauty if I was a celebrity.
You're really loving that influencer content you're making for Pagebound, huh? You're like, I could just do this all the time.
No, no, no. But hey, this is a parallel universe where I'm already a celebrity. So I already have to do that anyway for my life, right?
Okay.
As it is, as a human in this world, I would not choose this as my way to make money because all of the baggage that comes with celebrity is not something I'm interested in signing up for. Even poor Hailey, like, I'm glad she got this win because she's for her whole marriage facing all of the trolls. Like, I would not want that even for $1 billion, you know?
No, absolutely not. No. I don't know that she deserves $1 billion for what she's been through, but you know what? Good for her. All right, guys. Well, we will see you back in the fall, I guess. Have a great summer. Damn.
Crazy. We'll see you guys back in late August.
Don't miss us too much.
I feel like this is like a Gossip
Bye.
Girl send off. XOXO.
XOXO. Yeah, we always have the hot tea to spill. Not really.
If you enjoy the pod, we would love for you to give us a follow and rate us on Apple Podcasts, which helps us get the word out and reach new listeners. Our sources are available on Patreon, where if you choose to become a patron, you'll also get access to bonus content, our monthly book club, and our eternal gratitude.
If you'd like to get in touch or suggest a topic for a future episode, email us at everythingiknowabouttpod@gmail.com or DM us across all socials at EikaPod, that's EIKA pod. Thanks for listening and see you next week.